All right, good people. So we need to talk. 23 is back. I'm your host, Ringold, and joining me this evening um, is Roger Ortega, and this is special for me because, like I said, I'm a big R&B guy. So it's I know my questions will be coming from all different angles, but I'm just a big fan of music, but R&B even more. So enough about me. So how are you doing this evening, Mr. Ortega?
Man, I'm good. If I'm a little, my cheeks look a little puffy. It's because I got a little beat up at jujitsu last night, night before. Got some forearms accidentally to the face, but that's part of the sport. So, my little got a couple little shiners, but it's all good.
All right, all right. So the song that you hear in the background is "Pray for You" by Roger Ortega. So I'll just jump right in from there. So what was I know if you listen to the song, you'll get the full vibes and everything of the song. But what prompted you to write that song at that time?
It was two different points, man. Meeting together. Meaning, it's funny how it all came together. I had I started to learn how to play the piano. I started to teach myself during the pandemic.
Okay.
And one morning, it was a Sunday morning, I'll never forget it. I just kind of sat down and I was like, man, I was like, just it just started coming up, and then the chords just kept coming out. And I'm like, man, where are these coming from? And I'm like playing them, and it was like I was literally at one point like looked up when I got these chords together. I was like, thank you, because I know the chords came from above. It was like one of the most spiritual moments I've ever had writing a song, and I was like, well, what am I going to put with this? How am I going to bring this song to life lyrically?
Hmm.
And it just I played the chords, and I thought back to this moment that I have that my wife didn't know about. Nobody knew about it. This was my thing.
Okay.
We go to bed, man. We don't sleep with clothes on.
Hmm.
And I what I do is a lot of times I'll put my hand on her hip, and when I do that before I go to bed, I close my eyes, and that's when I just kind of say my prayers for her and my girls.
Hmm.
And I was like, and I remember thinking, like, man, this is just such a beautiful moment. Like if I could capture that in a song.
Hmm.
And when I had these chords, that was the moment that came back to me was these chords fit this song, and the first line is hand on your naked hip more than a touch. It's not
Hmm.
a physical thing. It's a
Yeah.
spiritual thing. Spiritual love, as the song says.
Hmm.
And it was it was that moment when that first lyric came out, that the rest of it just flowed over the chords. And man, I just felt like it was a very spiritual song process for me. And it's one of the most beautiful songs I think I've ever written. um, and so up until this new one that I wrote, it'll be out next year. We talk about that later. But
Okay. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, but for the audience, if you get a chance, please go listen to the song. So it's a really really good song. And
thank
and the second thing is, I thought I was the only one that slept like that with my hand on my wife's hip.
Yeah, man. Wow. Well, hopefully you are the only one sleeping with your hand on your
I mean,
wife's hip.
yeah, yeah.
But man, I'll tell you, this song got me a few people, a few dudes, man, reached out to me when they heard it. And a couple of them were like, bro, this song brought tears to my eyes. Like, it's a beautiful song. And I'm talking like manly dudes that
Hmm.
one guy reached out to me that I always kind of, he was always a couple years older than me growing up or whatever. And just out of the blue, he messaged me about this song. And then I saw him once when I went home to Kansas a couple months after that. And he's like, man, I meant what I said. He said that song. And that's why I do what I do, man. I don't care who it moves, as
Hmm.
long as it moves somebody, and it's a special song. So
Yeah, it really, really is. Okay, so since we just jumped right in, so for the audience and the people that may not know you, who is Roger Ortega?
Roger Ortega, first off, is very down to earth, very down to earth, full of love, man. Like my whole job, my whole life is to make people happy.
Hmm.
And I'll often become the butt of the joke, just to make myself the butt of the joke just to make people happy. But I'm a songwriter, I'm a singer, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and a son, of course. But it's everything, every role that I've played in my life has shot me to this direction with music and entertaining people. I just I love to write. I love to express love. I love to express myself, and hope that people gravitate towards the art that I'm putting out there. And it's funny to, when you think about when I think about myself as an artist, it's 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 weird to be like, man, what we do is no different than what a painter does. There's
Mhm.
nothing there before.
Yeah.
Nothing. This doesn't exist. But as soon as I sit down and play something, well, now all of a sudden we have something that exists, and what can I do to paint that picture and make this art? So it's weird. It's like I consider myself an artist, and I love doing this. So
Okay. So what got you in what got you into the singing? Was it, church, or was it just something that you picked up from
yeah.
hearing music at a young age?
Now, so yeah, definitely from hearing music at a young age. I grew up in a very musical family.
Mhm.
My dad and my uncles have been playing in a band together since I can remember. And so I would go to bed every night listening to them play everything from, which is Tejano music, which is Tex-Mex music,
Mhm.
uh, to top 40, to R&B, to funk. They did a lot of Gap band stuff, country. I mean, they played everything. The band is still playing together. My uncles are still playing together. My dad passed away in 2016, but the band has continued on, and it was it was that early exposure to all these different genres, um, and that really kind of opened my eyes and my heart to music. So I would go to bed listening to them play this stuff. I have band practice, and just dream of being on the stage with them somehow. Didn't know how to play one single instrument at all, but I used to dream like, how can I be in this band? And one day we had this amusement park in Kansas called Worlds of Fun,
Mhm.
um, and it was they had this was God, man, this had to be the 80s. I'm a little bit older, but it's okay. Um, I don't even remember the movie La Bamba. Uh,
Mhm.
so that song was out. That song was big at the time, and at the time they had like this karaoke recording thing booth at this amusement park. And so I recorded myself, and I never told my dad, I never told my uncles, never told anyone I wanted to be a singer. But I
Mhm.
recorded this thing because I was always scared they would, because they were doing it, and I didn't, as a kid, you're so insecure, and it was just I didn't want to expose myself to the embarrassment,
Mhm.
of them saying, no, this isn't for you, you're not good enough. But they got a hold of the little demo that I did, and it wasn't very good. I mean, maybe for a 10, 12-year-old kid, maybe. But
Right.
they asked me if I would sing it with them when they play it next, and that was like my dream come true. It was the biggest thing ever. So I started singing La Bamba with them every now and then. If I was at one of their gigs or whatever, they'd pull me up. And I remember seeing a girl years later, and she goes, I remember you when you used to sing that song, La Bamba. I was like, well, I said, what were you thinking? Like, what was going through your head? She goes, I just remember thinking, God, I hope this kid gets better. But eventually, I knew I didn't want to go the route of playing gigs. Like, I didn't want to be a band, like a wedding dance,
Yeah.
wedding performer, or anything like that. So um, I fell in love with like the New Kids on the Block, man, and New Edition, and I was like, man, that's what I need. I need to start a group. So I started a pop group when I was 14 with a cousin of mine and a friend of mine, and we were entertaining, but not very good. Eventually, though, the members changed. We grew up, and started developing a sound and started focusing more on acapella, because now we're in the 90s, where you've got Color Me Bad, Boys to Men, Jodeci, all these R&B groups, and that could really sing. And that was the route we went. So we became the group Slow Motion,
Mhm.
and the group I've never heard of, but we ended up getting a production deal out here with Interscope.
Okay.
So we moved out here in '98. And things fell apart when we got here. Universal was just started to buy up everybody, and they bought out Universal. So there was a freeze on the project. They wouldn't do anything with us, but they wouldn't let us out of our contract either. So we were kind of stuck here. And at the time, we had met with Jive, and they had just signed the Backstreet Boys, and they were looking for another, pop group.
Hmm.
And was that what they called them back then? Pop group? I guess that's what they called it. They weren't calling them boy bands at the time, really,
No,
not
not yet.
not proudly at least. And so we tried for months to get out of our contract. And by the time we did, Jive had backed off, and they were like, well, we just signed in sync, and we were like, well, we knew who they were at that point. Everyone did. It was after their first album, they blew up. But, and so after a few years, we were just kind of like, we're done. We've been together 10, 12 years or whatever. And I was 24 years old, man. And I was like, I'm too old for this business. I'm done. And I walked away for a good 12 years or so. And I stumbled back into it when I was 36. And I talk a lot, man. I talk.
Hey, no,
You get
hey,
me going, and I just talk.
there's
So
nothing
cut
wrong
me
with
off
that.
at any time, man. I'm just, but yeah, 36. I always kept writing for fun.
Mhm.
And this one kid was like, he said, man, he goes, I know these guys, they have a studio. You should let them hear some of your stuff. They have a little record label. I was like, nah, I'm good. So finally, after months of him bugging me, I took my music over there to the studio, and the guy was, I will never forget the guy telling me this. He said, man, he goes, you're sitting on a gold mine. And I remember saying, dude, I appreciate that. I said, I know my wife says that all the time, but she's supposed to.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, man, for really. He goes, so they signed me as a writer to this
Okay.
little label called Mena Keys Records. And so I was writing for some of their artists and whatnot. And I put up a little video of me singing on YouTube, and they saw me in a little bit different light, and were like, you should think about doing an album, being a recording artist. And I was like, no, I'm too old. I'm 36 years old, and I don't want to be laughed at as this 36-year-old up and comer, like R&B pop singer wannabe, whatever.
Mhm.
And after a couple months, again, I thought, I got to show my daughters, never give up on your dream. So this is something I wanted my whole life to do an album. I never in a million years thought of anybody in the group. It would be me. I started the group. I was a big driving force behind the group, but I also felt like I was the weakest singer in the group.
Okay.
And so I never had confidence that I could make an album. Um, and then the first album came out, and it hit number 62 on iTunes. And I was like, whoa, okay, we got something here.
Mhm.
And though the production, the vocals weren't that great, that album did kind of what I needed it to do, and kind of, gave me a career. And I love the songs on the album. I don't love the production, but they're still my babies. I go back and listen to it. In fact, in a few months, April 4th is going to be the 10-year anniversary of that album, which is crazy to think about. So what I'm working on now is trying to maybe remix a couple of those songs, maybe do one or two, with a piano version or something
Yeah.
acoustic. But anyway, things took off after that, and it was such a surreal feeling to be able to live the dream that I wanted to live. Started working on the second album, and during that process, the owner that signed me the deal passed away, the owner of the label. And so I lost a lot of songs in legal, but everything happens for a reason, because those songs that I lost were not nearly as good as the songs that came out on the second album. And when that album came out, it hit number 8 on iTunes. And it was just crazy, man. It was a crazy time, and things were going great. Had a cruise, had everything, got some
Oh, yeah.
fans on a cruise, and we were gearing up for number 2, and then 2020.
So let me ask you. So that's some of the stuff that I was researching and stuff. So when the owner passed, and I'm sure there were different emotions dealing with the passing of the owner of the label and everything. But as for your career, what was that moment like? Of course, you had the grieving process, but what was going through your mind as far as your career goes? Once the owner passed and then the label ended up folding. So
Right.
what were your feelings at that time?
I was, I remember when he passed. Of course, I know I was hurt. He was a great guy, a great guy. Rest in peace, George. But I remember thinking, well, this is it. I guess this is as far as I go, because these guys supported me. You know, I even though it was an independent label,
Hmm.
so obviously a lot of the work that was done on that album and the promotion was me and my wife,
Hmm.
and you know, and a good friend of mine who's you know, with me and does my show with me on Sunday nights, Adrian Mosqueda, and we really just kind of pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed on this album. And after it was over, after he passed, I was like, well, now I don't know where to go record, you know, because the label let me record at their studio for free.
Hmm.
And I, you know, stayed connected with one of my good friends who produced a few songs on that first album, who's an amazing, phenomenal artist and himself and producer, um, Edson Sean. And when I told him, I said, I don't know what we're gonna do. He said, man, he said, let's just do the album on our own. You know, he's like, you got the funds from the first album,
Hmm.
and now he goes, now you don't have a label to pay. You know, there's no middleman. He goes, we'll just go straight to, you know, direct to the audience.
Hmm.
And I was like, all right, let's do it. So we started working on it. And even then, my heart wasn't in it at first. And I don't think it was, there was, I was like, yeah, I'm working on an album, working on an album. Oh, it'll come out next year sometime. You know, there was no, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Gosh, when you wanted to, when you, not emphasis, starts with an E. Uh, anyway, there was no, gosh, I can't think of the word right now, and I say it all the time. But anyway, there was no fire behind
Hmm.
getting it done. It was just like, I'll do some stuff here, do some stuff there, and then my dad got sick,
Okay.
and I was like inspired to do things and write songs and whatnot, and then I just went into overdrive and came out with the album The Lottery,
Hmm.
and it was an emotional process, that entire album.
Okay.
So the payoff for it uh, was really emotional as well. And unfortunately, my dad didn't get to hear the album because it came out in June, and he passed in February.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so it was you know, it was crazy. But what was really cool was when we did I did a concert in an amphitheater
Hmm.
in Kansas too. As we called it the homecoming, and it was really the big debut of the album, and me coming home to perform, you know, for my community, my fans and friends and family. And it happened to be at a park, which was literally about 100 yards away from where my dad was buried, you know.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
it was a really cool emotional moment where I wrote a song for him called, sorry about my dog.
Oh yeah.
um, I wrote a song, it's on the album, it's called Never Forget. And during that song, you know, I had his bass up on the stage, and I had my uncle teach me a few notes on the bass so I could
Mhm.
play, you know, and so I got to play my dad's bass, you know, with him not too far away, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so all in all, he still did get to hear the album.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, so after, you know, but in between the record label, everything folding, do you think that your heart not possibly being in it, do you think that that was, do you think that that was any sort of, I don't want to say survivor's guilt, but it's some sort of guilt in thinking that I'm gonna put out an album, you know, after George,
Yeah.
you said Menor.
Man, huh?
Yeah, okay, George Menor passed and the record label folding. Do you think that that's what sort of slowed you down, was feeling a little guilt of
You
continuing
know,
the process?
that could be it. I think that there was a lot of that going on. He was kind of a compass for me, you
Okay.
know, and you know, I knew when I met him he was fighting lupus,
Hmm.
and because man, God bless him, I'd show up to the studio at 11 o'clock at night sometimes. But yeah, maybe at 11, and I'd be sitting there. It's sometimes freezing in the middle of the night, like sitting in the car waiting for him to show up. And then I'd get a text from him like at 1 o'clock in the morning, you know, hey man, I'm sorry I was in the hospital, you know.
Hmm.
uh, but losing him was hard. It was hard because he was my compass. I had a direction with him,
Okay.
and I did feel a little bit lost and saddened, you know, because he'd worked so hard for this label, and to see it now folding, you know, was really really tough. So yeah, that's a good point. That I think that did have a lot to do with it.
Yeah. So I mean, then you know, then you said then your father passing. I mean, I know that we always say things happen for a reason. Do you think that
Right.
that those two instances or two events happening sort of back to back, Do you think that that was just more time for you to kind of sit back and, you know, hone your craft and just work on more songs and things like that? Is that what you felt at that time was for? Now?
Um, yeah, definitely. I felt like their deaths kind of bookend the Lottery album, you
Okay.
know. And it was during that time, yeah, that I would come up with these songs, and I wasn't so sad that I'd lost those other songs. You
Hmm.
know, I was really grateful in a way, because I would have put out a second album and it would have been okay. It'd have been kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
Uh, and I remember when the second album came out, all I wanted it to do was chart the top 200, because I felt like with the first album, I felt like I like one, like it was a fluke,
Hmm.
and two, that I sold based on curiosity. You know, people were
Yeah.
like, well, "Who is this guy? Let's see." And then they get the album, and I almost felt like it was bait and switch, because they get the album, and though the songs are good, the production just wasn't quite up to par like I would want it.
Hmm.
So with the Lottery, we took it to a whole new level. You know, we had Grammy winning artists playing on it, you know, producing it, engineering it, mixing it, mastering it. I just wanted to go all out, because I felt like I had to prove something and give something back to my
Okay.
fans. I wanted to give them the best possible album that I could make. And so when that happened, I felt really relieved. I mean, I still today stand by any one of those songs. I'm like, if you just listen to the song from beginning to end on that album,
Hmm.
you know, you're gonna feel something. And Cry for You was on that album, you know.
So
So
that's another really good song that you all should check out. Maybe out, you know, we'll play that one on the way out just to.
there you go. There you go.
um,
Yeah.
okay, so you mentioned the cruise. In my research, I thought that that was very interesting. So how did the cruise thing come about? Was that something on your end, or was that Norwegian or whoever reaching out to you?
It was funny. It was actually a friend of mine who was a booking agent, or travel agent, was working with Norwegian, and they wanted him to find something, you know, to help, you know, bring people to the boat or whatever. And he reached out to me, and again, I was like, "Nah, man, I can't fill a boat." And he's like, "No," because you don't have to. You don't have to fill a boat. He's like, it would be like a cruise group, you
Hmm.
know. We would do X, Y, and Z. You know, your fans. You have these events, and we'll get you guys discounts on, you know, get your fans discounts or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly. It's been so many years now, but it was they just sold it to me. You know, they sold it to
Hmm.
me, and so we did it. And initially, when we signed up for a 7 day cruise, and I just remember thinking, man, that is a long time. That's a long time to be on. Like you know, I've been on like the New Kids on the Block cruise. That thing's like 4 days, and it's just bam, 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 bam. You know,
Hmm.
there's always something going on, because there's 5 guys in the damn group. You know, so with me, it's like it's just me, and so we had events every day, and it was the coolest thing ever, because I just wanted to make sure everyone was having a good time. It
Hmm.
was a lot of work on my end to be on for 7 days, and be entertaining, and just be happy, and not be tired, and perform and do all these things. Have lunch, have dinner with everybody.
Hmm.
And at the end of the cruise, I had a dinner with a lot of the girls, and I asked them, you know, what was your favorite part about the cruise? You know, so when we do the next one, we can continue it.
Hmm.
And they were like, honestly, the best part was we got more FaceTime with you than we thought we would. Like everyone know they thought they'd see me at the events, and I'd see him here and there, but we hung out a lot. We hung out a lot, and that meant a lot to me, that they just wanted to hang out with me. And it was really cool. So the cruise, man, we had like an 80s and 90s R&B night, where I did a bunch of 80s and 90s R&B. You might have liked that one. We had a karaoke night. You know, of course, I had my own concert, and my DJ played in the club almost every night, and it was crazy. The craziest part, though, was the very beginning, man, where that boat tipped, and it stayed tipped for a good 2 or 3 minutes, man. Like things were sliding across. It looked like the Titanic. I mean, it was crazy, but after that, it was all good, man. It was all good. It was an amazing thing. So we actually scheduled another one for 2020, I think it was, or 2021. I think it was supposed to happen this last fall, 2021. But obviously, with everything going on, you know, when was 2020? Either way, I don't know. There was a second one,
Mhm.
and it got canceled. And I say canceled, but it's postponed. We're gonna do it. We just don't know when, man.
Yeah,
That's the hard part. You can't plan anything. So
yeah, but but with all of that, like I said, I mean that when I saw that, I thought that was, I said that's the first time that I've seen. I'm sure that there's other people that possibly, like you said, New Kids
yeah,
on the Block and different things like that did it. But
right,
I said, okay, so
right.
I have to ask that question because I thought that was where, the Row experience. It was just like, okay.
Yeah, man. It was cool, man. It's there's not a lot of independent artists that do it. In fact, I don't know any other independent artists. I'm sure there have, like you. I'm sure there have. I don't know any one independent artist that has done that.
Hmm.
And so, and it's funny, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of times where I'll do things like getting back into music, man. At 36 years old, man, I
Hmm.
inspired a whole bunch of people to do the same, man. So it was cool to get messages from other friends that were like, "Hey, man, you're doing this, man. I picked up my drums again," or "Hey, man, I'm writing songs now too." And it was cool, man, because I just want to show everybody, man. It doesn't matter how old you are, man. Don't give up. Don't give up. If you really want to do something, do it. You know. Um, you're never too old, man.
Oh
Never too
yes,
old.
and like I said, especially with the pandemic and everything, that should have, kicked us all in our behind to tell us, hey, get out there and do this, make this happen. Don't allow a
Yes.
year and a half or however long we sat in the house to go
Yeah,
by.
man.
And
That was a
just,
whole year and a half of our lives, man. That I think, um, man, I made the most of it. I really did. I enjoyed the time with my wife and my daughters. I certainly did. But like I said, I was like, I've got to do something. So I learned how to play the piano. I,
mhm.
I always say that, and I don't mean that. I learned how to play songs on the piano. I
Okay, yeah.
can't sit down and read music, but I can play a bunch of songs. I did a concert a couple months ago. Oh my God, it's been 4 months now.
Hmm.
And I was like, I brought my piano, my keyboard, and I had a VIP VIP meet and greet before the
Hmm.
show. And man, I was like, this is where I'm gonna play for the first time live in front of people at this VIP. Because if they paid extra to come hang out with me, they won't leave if I mess up on this piano that I've been trying
Yeah.
to practice. Because up until that day, man, I was messing up every single song that I played, and I kept thinking, how am I going to recover if this happens live? But we did it, man, and I played practically flawless, and I was really proud of myself. And then it made it easier to perform the piano songs later that night in my show.
Hmm.
Um, but it was cool. It felt like it was a big accomplishment for me to be able to actually play in front of people, and something that I dedicated myself to, and it paid off, and now I can write songs on it, as you've heard with Pray for You and whatnot. But I just took advantage of being home, and I didn't want to waste that time. I'm very driven, man, very
Hmm.
driven, um, in so many aspects of my life, and fitness being one of them, man. Like I'm still going, but I say this and I document it every day on Instagram, man. 6 days a week. I work out 6 days a week, and I
Okay.
document it every day. You'll see it in my stories. But when I say this, man, people don't believe it. But man, it's there in my stories, and I post the stories so people know I'm not lying. But I have not missed 6 days a week. I haven't missed a workout in over 5 years, man. I don't accept excuses. 5 years, like 6 days a week, I get my ass up and I go downstairs and I work out. And that's not including my jujitsu workouts, because in my mind, I've been doing jujitsu for 2 years,
Hmm.
and it's a crazy, crazy workout, man. Um, but I didn't count those jujitsu. I wasn't doing jujitsu when I started counting the workouts.
Yeah.
So I'm like, in my mind, even though no one really gives a damn, I can't count them now because I didn't count them before.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'm working out twice a day. Um, but man, I'm just, once I lock in on something, man, I go for it. And right now I'm locking in on the third album, and it's also my final album. and we'll talk about that when you want to, but we can keep going with whatever.
No, no, no. We can definitely touch on that. Um, so why would this third album be your final album? Are you transitioning into, more on the executive side, or is that just, you
So
just like, okay, I made my mark and now it's time to sit
yeah,
back.
I think well, I'll always do. I always, preface this with I'm always going to do music. I'm always going to write. I'll always release songs. Um, and of course I say this is my third and final album. My friends are all like, "Yeah, we know you. 5 years, you're setting up for the comeback already," But but no, I just albums are a lot of work, man. And I didn't think I was going to do a third album, but I ended up having like this collection of songs that I had written, hadn't recorded them yet, and I was
Okay.
like, man, that might go good. And I always wanted to do an album called Midwest Charm because that's I'm from the Midwest, man,
Mhm.
and I just always loved that. I just thought it'd be a great name for an album. And so as I'm writing songs and kind of messing around with stuff, I'm like, oh, actually, that would be a great song for this album, and this theme. And I just was really inspired for a big period during the last year or so,
Mhm.
and I just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and I'm still writing, and I'm hoping to wrap up all the recording by June, I think, and hopefully
Okay.
have the album out in September is the goal. Could be October, but it's just I'm kind of ready for different challenges.
Okay.
It's a lot of work being an independent artist and a lot of self promotion
Mhm.
that I do kind of get burned out on it. I'm not posting as much on social media as I used to, and partly because, man, like because you do so much self promotion, people get sick of you.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Roger again,
There he goes.
and then and they stop liking stuff. They just
Yeah.
scroll past your stuff. So I've stopped posting as much because it's like I'll post my workouts, I'll post my jujitsu every now and then. I'll post me playing the piano or whatever. But if I don't really have something to promote or say right now, I'm
Mhm.
not going to do it. I don't, because people do, man. You feel it. You feel it, and you see the numbers. You see the
Mhm.
numbers. Like when you're hot, you're getting your likes, you're getting your shares, you're getting your retweets, you're getting, your comments, your messages, your DMs. And then when they you can start again, you feel it, you just starts dipping off. I'm like, okay, I need to give these people a
And
break
take a
from me.
break.
Yeah, man. So that's kind of where I am right now. I'm waiting because I'm gonna hit these months so hard when I come back, you know. But it's I'm just ready to try other things, man. I I'm entering a different stage in my life with my wife and my daughters,
Mhm.
and I want to try new businesses, man. I want to try. There's so many changes coming up in our lives over the next year. Our daughter's graduating high school, and uh, I want to do other things in addition to music, but doing albums and all that stuff requires a lot of dedication
Mhm.
that I just want to write songs and put them out here and there. Spotify has a lot to do with that, man, because they just stripped us of royalties basically. you
Okay.
know I was very lucky with the when my first two albums came out that iTunes was still a thing, like where you go get music, because people, my demographic is older, so they would go download the album, pay the $10 or whatever on iTunes,
Mhm.
and then they would want a CD too. So I was like selling twice as many, like
Yeah.
literally twice as many, and it was like, man, this is crazy. And now it's like you go to Spotify, they don't have to pay for it; they can just listen to it,
Mhm.
and I don't even get a penny on a spin. And
Oh
so
wow.
it's like I don't want to invest all that. It's a bigger gamble now,
Yeah.
than it was. And fans, you know, they can be fickle. Like I said, they move on quickly.
Mhm.
Oh, I forgot about you. Okay, they'll come back every now and then, or they'll kind of give you a wink and a nod.
Mhm.
But sometimes they can be fickle, and you don't always get them back. So.
Yeah. And I can definitely see that from, being an independent artist. But so what's one thing that you think? I'll say advice wise. What's one thing that you think a lot of artists, rap, R&B, rock, whatever, that a lot of people get misconstrued about, being an independent artist? We all know that, with the self promotion and everything, but what's the one thing that you think a lot of people get misconstrued about the
Um,
independent side?
Quality. I think people think just because you're an independent artist that you lack the quality or the artistry of an artist with a major label. All that major label shit is gloss. That's all that is. It's a filter. That's all it is, man. Because if you strip that stuff away, they're not really that much different. Now there are some people that are just on another level. Don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
most of the crap you see, man, is gloss, man. It's a filter, and I feel like with a lot of independent artists, that's just stripped away, and you get more of the heart and soul, and I think that also people love. It's so weird, man, how people just love to just fall over celebrity, just all over it, just because you know they're on the radio or whatever. And I mean, I know you've probably heard this and I hear this as well, where there's songs out on the radio like how did that get on, like,
Yeah.
and but those people now, and God bless them, for them,
Mhm.
but it's like, man, I've got stuff over here that's twice as good at that, but because I don't have the label behind me pushing me or spending the money to get you on, you have to pay to be on the radio. And
Yeah.
I don't mean like pay $15,000. I mean you have to pay like 75,000, 300,000, $500,000, depending on. I can't remember what I saw. Was it like $100,000? Close to $100,000 would get you on for like 3 days in a major market.
Oh wow.
Well, it's ridiculous, and it's like, but you have people that will support that. Some people really love independent artists, and a lot of them, my fans, are that way, thank God. And a lot of them feel that way. They like the independent artists because they can contact us.
Yeah.
We'll connect with them. We hang out with them. I've had some fans come to my Christmas parties. I've had some fans come to my family events.
Mhm.
They become, you know, uh, part of the family. People that support me, I don't take them for granted, man. It's amazing how, and it still blows my mind that anybody would want to support me like that.
Mhm.
But I did a toast at one of my VIPs. I think the one we did the last one, where it was I want to say from strangers to fans to friends to family, and
Mhm.
that's kind of how I look at my fans. I call them my Roros,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are, man. A lot of them are family, and I'm really thankful for them. But I think what people kind of misconstrue is that they just think because you're not on the radio, you're not as good, and
Mhm.
that's all gloss.
No, and I mean, and at least for me, I mean, I think I listen to so much music, and I'm like, I don't at this point, I don't listen to the radio
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
If I whatever I download to my phone, or I still have my CD book from the '90s. So
Ah, yeah, man.
yeah, I said I would never throw it away. Streaming is great. Don't get me wrong,
You
but
got kids, man?
yes, three boys.
And do they understand what CDs are, or how old are they?
They 21, 16, and 10.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
hey, they already know the CD book sits in the truck. Hey, pass me that CD, and because
Awesome.
I'm lucky to where I still have a CD player in my car. Like my
Oh
wife's
man,
car doesn't
that's
have a
great.
CD player at all, so you just go
Yeah,
straight.
man, that's it.
But my
That's
truck has a CD player in it still, and I love my CDs. I said some of the CDs that I have are classic CDs. I'm like, I
yeah,
I remember when I bought it, where what my mindset was, and all those types of things. So
yeah,
I
man.
love my CDs.
That reminds me of this meme that I saw. Was it a meme or a video where it was like, someone says, it's like everyone, well, the thing was like everyone. Today's drivers are too distracted.
I saw
And,
that.
and
Yes,
yeah, then you see the dude with the CDs. Oh, I was like, yeah, man, that was me, man. That was
the
me.
good old days.
Yeah,
But no, I mean, I'm a big fan of the independent artists because, like I said, I like the fact that you know that family feel to where if I send you a message on IG, you may not get back to me tomorrow, or it might be a week from today, whatever, but at least
Yeah,
you respond back, and I know that more than likely it's coming from you and not some intern that's sitting in a basement in some building and things
yeah,
like that. So I do appreciate the independent artists and
yeah.
things like that. So for
That's
all the
all.
independent artists out there, hey, reach out to me, send me your music. I do listen.
Yeah, man.
So,
That's great, man. And trust me, man, we all appreciate that, man. That's love, man. We appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah. So besides that, so there are a lot of interesting things about you. So as far as and I have to look at my notes. I know I try not to look at my
That's
notes,
okay. No, man, it's all good.
but I had to. So when you to become what did it take? I'll start here to become a part of the NRA, not the National Rifle Association, the National Recording Academy.
Academy.
What did it take to get you there?
Man, first off, I got to thank my management team for even finding out how to do it.
Okay.
They had me submit all sorts of stuff. It was based on record sales, show attendance, and what was it? Record sales and songwriting credits.
Okay.
And so it was all that, and I had to submit it and wait. And it's funny, I think today might be the anniversary. I went to the Grammys in 2018, I think it was. My wife just sent me like a picture that was like in the memories. Let me see if I can find it here. But it is one of my favorite pictures, man. Hold on, and it had one of my favorite posts. I don't know how to try. Oh, I lost it. Dang, where'd it go? Sorry. So the post, I could read it though, real quick. Um, Here it is. So I don't know if y'all can see that. It's a picture of me and my wife right there.
Yes, that's in the black dress.
So
Yeah.
yes, and so it says, yeah, this was January 28th, 2018. It says 15 years ago, we could barely afford bus money, but I learned that as long as you can breathe, you can put one foot in front of the other and get closer to your dreams. I may not be here accepting a Grammy, but thanks to all of you, my talented uncles, mom, family, my team, and my wife, I'm at the very least at the Grammys. So that was a pretty cool moment, man, to actually be there and when I got accepted and when I got the tickets and all that, I was like, man, we're really going to this. Like I watched this in Kansas growing up,
Hmm.
to actually be there was really, really cool, man. And I never really wanted a Grammy. Like I just thought it'd be cool to be there until I saw people getting up all around me accepting Grammys. I'm like, wait, where's mine? It was really cool, man. That was a really cool moment.
So so when when you and your wife got there, like you said, it was a surreal moment. But what was it like? I mean, I'm sure at first, the sort of the fandom hits you. You like you said, you're watching it on TV. But what was it like, walking through, walking down the red carpet or walking through that door, the front door,
Yeah,
whatever it is?
it was funny because there's two Grammy events that they give out awards. One, like you'll constantly, when you're watching the live broadcast, they'll say so and so won best blah 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 earlier today,
Hmm.
and they'll say, well, they actually have a ceremony or an event where they give out like 80 some Grammys or something like that, because they only give out I don't know, maybe 10, 15 or whatever during the live broadcast, but the majority of them are given out, for a lot of obscure categories. But we were there for both of them, and after the first one, this one happened to be at Madison Square Garden. This is always so funny to me. Everyone's just dressed to the nines, man. Everyone. And a lot of the major stars don't go to that first event. They'll wait and go to the big one, the broadcast. So, but a lot of their producers and all those people, the people that you want to be with are at that one. Those are the people you need to be with. But anyway, after that first event, which lasted 2 or 3 hours, everyone went from one room in the Madison Square Garden, which is like a theater or something,
Hmm.
into the concourse, like to the main area. I'm
Okay.
sorry. So you have the big arena, Madison Square Garden. So everyone's sitting there, but the show, you had to be in your seats by a certain time. Now no one had eaten anything for hours. But the only thing to eat, because you didn't have time, you couldn't leave or they wouldn't let you back in. The only you could do was eat like those chicken fingers, burgers, whatever they have at the concession stand. So you look around, man, and you see girls in gowns with like white like gloves, and guys, everyone's eating like chicken fingers, and it was just really weird, man. Because they wouldn't let you eat them in your seats. They didn't want any food in the arena for the broadcast. So, but that was kind of crazy. So that stuck with me. But watching during the commercial breaks, when you could see down on the, look down on the floor, and you could see all the deals being made. You could just see all the deals being made. Like you see Steven Tyler of Aerosmith go over and chat with Jay-Z, like, I don't know what's going on, what are they talking about? You know what I mean? Like just so many people just interacting, and you're like, I wonder how many collabs are being made right now, that was surreal. That was pretty cool.
So what is and looking at your bio and researching you and everything. So what is it? So in order for you to vote, what was it like your first time voting, and what does it, what does that all entail? Do you get to vote for everything, or is it only like a specific category?
You can pick, what is it? I can't remember. It's somewhere between 5 and 8 categories. It doesn't matter which categories,
Okay.
but I'm telling you, there are a ton of strange categories. And a lot of those people in those categories will send me their music. Some of it's spoken word, some of it's um, like traditional bluegrass, and all that. So I don't listen to as much as I used to. The first few years, I took it very seriously, and I was listening to everything I could. And then I was like, okay, I'm not voting in this category. Don't waste my time. Me telling myself, don't waste your time. But I tend to stick with like the R&B, the pop and stuff like
Mhm.
that, things that I'm most comfortable with. I vote? I did not vote this year though, and I don't know why I didn't vote this year. Um, I got my ballot, but I don't know why. Yeah, but I don't think I voted this year. But the first year that I voted,
Mhm.
um, man, it was cool because most of the people, if not all of the people that I voted for, won, and I was like, "That's my vote."
My vote put them over
But
the top.
Kendrick Lamar can thank me.
And then- so is it do the people in each group, like once you pick your five to eight categories, do they send out to the artists and let them know, I guess, like who's voting for them, or who is voting for that category, or
No,
you're just getting tons of stream CDs or whatever it is at that time
so yeah, well, yeah, like what do people do? Even like since I've been in it, people will they'll ask you if you want a CD, and they'll mail it to you. They'll give an address or whatever. A lot of it is all streamed, or you can listen to it on their website, whatever. But yeah, it just kind of depends. I mean, it's funny how it's it really is kind of political. Like if some one guy wins a Grammy, it doesn't matter how obscure it is. All
Mhm.
of a sudden, everybody's riding this guy, like and so that I kind of backed out of a few of those Facebook groups. Like I was so active at first, and then I was like, wait a second, I don't care about the kids' song of the year. What you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
but everybody's on him. They all want to get that rub. They want to get that shine. They want to get his vote because now he's got some clout. And I just didn't want to play that. And so I just vote. I'll listen to stuff, occasionally when they send it,
Mhm.
um, but I'll only vote on what I really know. It really is a popularity contest, and the labels. That's why a lot of people that win are by labels because they're promoting to the members of the Grammys,
Okay.
or the Recording Academy, and it's they put it so much in your face you can't forget about them.
Mhm.
And it's hard for independent artists to win Grammys because they don't have the funding to do that
Yeah.
in the major categories. So
I mean,
yeah,
like,
man,
yeah,
it's politics all over, man.
yeah,
Politics all over.
you can't escape it. But the one thing that I would say a lot of you all, the independent artists, can can take solace in is knowing that good music is hard to, bypass.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter, like I said, you have all the gloss and shine on it. Doesn't mean that it's good.
right.
I hate to say this, but you could shine. You know, you can polish a turd all you want,
Yeah, man.
still a piece of
Exactly.
shit.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
So
man.
you know, but like I said, that's why I appreciate the independent artists, and it's not to say that the major artists aren't working hard, but at
Right.
least in my mind, the independent artist is working twice as hard to
Right.
to get their product out there and to be
The
seen and
grind.
heard. So
I'm gonna while we're here real quick, man, I'm gonna get a little picture of us together here, man, so I can post this up, man. Me and my dude.
yeah,
All right. Make sure we get that up on Instagram,
no,
man.
definitely, definitely.
But
So let me see, because uh, I have so no, because I have so many other questions, but
that's okay.
I'll, then I'll go here with it, because since we can talk music. So with all of the verses and all, and let me ask you from the R&B standpoint, the rap we could put that to the side, but from the R&B standpoint, that with the verses battles and things, how do you think the R&B categories or the R&B verses has gone? The ones that you have seen.
Man, the only real R&B one that I saw uh was the Babyface and
And Teddy Riley.
yeah, yeah, Teddy Riley. I was like, oh man, I was so embarrassed for Teddy, man. But but yeah, man, Babyface is my man though, man. That man has been writing hits since before like '90s R&B took off, man. I don't remember he was in that group The Deal.
Yes.
Um, yeah, man. I just heard that two occasions the other day, and man, I love that song. Freaking love that song.
It's a
But
timeless record. Timeless.
yeah, man. But that's the only one, the only R&B one that I caught. I'll tell you though, the one that I would love to have seen, man, which would be amazing, and we'll never get it, not live at least, would have
Mhm.
been Michael Jackson and Prince. Like that to me would have been a crazy verses, man.
And that
Crazy.
what's funny about that's a big debate that my wife and I have because I'm a
Yeah.
Michael Jackson guy. She's a Prince. She loves
Oh, okay.
Prince. And I told her, I said everyone wants to compare them. I said, but they're two different artists. I
Yeah.
said, I'm a big Mike guy. I said, I
Yeah.
grew up on Mike. I said, I can never ever take anything away from Prince. Talent, so uber talented.
Yeah.
I said, but for me, I said, it's just the showmanship. I said, Prince, my wife would say, oh, Prince can dance too. I
Yeah.
said, but to sit there, if I'm going to pay for a concert, I tell people, Mike would be one. Beyonce would be one.
Right.
And I say Neo and Chris Brown. I said because I know I'm gonna get a full show
Yeah.
versus, and it's no knock to like the John Legends and Alicia Keys.
Right.
I said
Right.
for especially for a Beyonce concert, the tickets what $300-400, something
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna
Exactly.
spend $300-400, I want you all over that stage by the end of the night.
Man, I will say this. Obviously, I don't have the production that they have, and
Mhm,
honestly, I don't have a quarter of the talent that they have. But most people, most people that will come to a show,
mhm.
they they'll be like, "Oh, I like his songs. I like his songs." But when they leave, they're like, "Holy shit! I didn't know it was going to be that." Because, like you said, man, it's a whole show. I
Yeah.
am all over the stage. I look at it like this, man. I was just telling my boy Nitty from the group. You remember the group Riff? I
Yes.
was just telling my boy Nitty because the first time he came to see me was this last summer, and he was just like, "Bro, wow." He's like, I wasn't expecting that.
Mhm.
Because I treat every single stage, no matter how big, no matter how small, like Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And every show, man, it's like a roller coaster. You start, you get that build, that anticipation, bam, then you hit them right away with something hard, and you keep going and you're looping it, and then you slow it down for a little bit. You slow it down, break them down. You get to the emotional part, man, and then bam, you're partying again, man. I'm telling you, we have beach balls, we have confetti cannons, man. We have, the crowd is involved from the beginning with chants, and they all know my signature moves and stuff. So when I do like my song, I have a song called Drink Up, Freak Out. And it's a
Mhm.
simple thing that my choreographer came up with years ago where It's like drink up, freak out, drink up, and the whole audience does it, man. And it's crazy, but the whole show, I have that audience involved from the beginning to the end, and because I know like I'm a good singer. I'm not a great singer, you know. I'm a good dancer. I'm not a great dancer, but I am one hell of a showman, and I can command a stage like nobody's business. And that's everyone that leaves my show is like, okay, I knew people liked him, but now I know why. You know, like you've got to see an RO show, man. It doesn't matter how small the stage is or how big it is, man. You're gonna get all of me, and I love that, man. That's my favorite part about the whole thing is performing. That's it.
And I think that's what nowadays, and let me know if you agree or disagree, but I think nowadays, I think that's what's missing from a lot of shows. It is the showmanship.
Right.
They'll give you the song and then they just want to stand there in front of the mic,
Yeah,
and
man.
it's
I'm
just
like,
like, no, I didn't come to Coachella or wherever just to see you stand in front of
yeah,
the mic.
stand there. Like, yeah. Yeah, it's funny how I was actually watching somebody, God, I can't remember who it was, a few months ago perform on one of those shows, and and they just like walk across the all nonchalant, like they're trying to be too cool. Like it's too cool. Like, dude, you're boring. You're not cool. You're boring. But that's me, man. Maybe I'm old. Who knows? I mean, I am old, but that's all good.
No, I don't think it. Oh, I mean, it's just if you appreciate music and you want that show, because like I said, if I'm gonna spend $200-300 on a ticket, and and you're just gonna stand there, I can listen to it at home. I didn't have to pay.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, the one guy I do want to see in concert before it's all said that I haven't seen it yet is Bruno Mars.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I know that's going to be a show, man. I know it's going to be a show. The man is a showman in every aspect of anything he puts out. It's just that man is super super talented, man. He's probably my favorite artist alive right now. He's
I,
just so damn cool.
I think a lot of people, and it's not to put pressure on them, but I'm like, if you, like I said, my music,
Yeah,
history goes back a long way. But I think if you look at it in its totality, and I'm gonna ask you this question, but I'll start with this. Like to me, I say like a top 3 to 5 artists that you say, what, reminds you of a Michael Jackson or a Prince.
yeah,
For me, I said in terms of the producing, the songwriting, all of that, I say Neo. I'm a big Neo fan.
yeah, yeah.
Like songwriting, who and this person I don't think gets enough credit, but maybe I'm just a big fan. Like Donnell Jones, big
Ooh,
big songwriting. It's one of my favorites.
yeah, man.
And Chris Brown, just because you're gonna get the showmanship for sure.
Absolutely.
And then, like I said, Bruno Mars, and I always tell people, I said I think Chris Brown is more in that Michael Jackson
Yep,
realm, and then
yep.
Bruno Mars definitely is more to me in that more in
Right.
that Prince realm.
I agree.
So if you had to do a 3 to 5, who would you put out there?
I mean, definitely those three right there for sure, man. I just feel like Bruno can't be touched, man. But like because he's just all around, man. From dance, he can dance, man. He can play, he can write, he can sing his ass off. So can Chris Brown. Now, I don't know what instruments Chris Brown can play, but I know he's somebody I would love to see in concert just because I know his dancing is just like jaw dropping, man. And Neo's just smooth. Neo's just cool, you know. Um, Anybody else that I would put in that category, man, you know, and I'm not putting him here. I'm just gonna say his name,
Mhm.
just because Neo or not Neo. The Weekend kind of has a similar Michael Jackson timbre in his voice,
Mhm.
But there's some times when I can tell he's trying to sound like Michael a little bit,
Yeah.
and to me it comes off forced, although he's good, man. I love his artistry. I've never seen him dance outside of him shaking his feet a couple, a little bit here and there. But so I don't know if he can dance or not. I
Mhm.
know that his show would be a visual thing,
Yeah.
with screens and all sorts of craziness or whatever. But I don't know that I would pay to see that, because I don't know if he could bring it like any of those three we just mentioned. And outside of that, man, I can't think of anybody that can do it, man. I used to think Justin Timberlake was on that track. Oh, you know what? Bet Bieber would put on a good show. Bieber can move. But I used to think Justin Timberlake was on that track, and then he put out that last album that I just did not like. I was like, whoa, bro, you went, like, I understand trying new things, but warm us up to that. don't just jump off the cliff and hope we're gonna go with you, because I couldn't go with him, man. I couldn't go with him.
No, and I think that's what a lot of artists do. And hearing you mention Justin Bieber, a lot of people, because like I said, I listen to everything.
Yeah.
I said good music is good music. I don't care where it's coming from. Country, it doesn't matter. But Justin Bieber, I don't think he gets enough credit for the talent that he has and that he brings to the table. Because a lot of people will say, well, Usher about. I said, yeah, Usher brought him out, signed him, whatever the case is. Cool, I get that. I
Right.
said, but if you go back and listen to his albums and things like that, I said
Yeah,
he
man.
has really good music.
Yeah, he does, and he's really been hitting these last few years. Like, I've
Mhm.
liked just about everything he's put out, and I mean, this last album he put out was really cool. I think a lot of it was inspired by his wife or whatever, but I mean, he puts out some good stuff, and he's on all sorts of songs that people don't even know. Like, I'll be listening to like the hip hop, Pandora station or whatever, and you hear like, I don't know, Migos, somebody, just going on, and then all of a sudden I'm like, yo, who's that? Justin Bieber. Damn, he's on this track. Okay, all right, there you go. So he's doing it, man. He's doing it, and I think the kid's incredible. I think he's really incredible, and like you said, doesn't get enough love or respect. So
No, not at all. And I told him, and I'm glad that I expanded my my listening to
yeah,
take in all of the good music. So I will say this before we wrap up.
okay.
Can you give me an artist, R&B, pop, doesn't matter, that a lot of people that you may have heard come across, whether it's in your city, town, wherever, that a lot of people may not know about, that you think should get more downloads or whatever the case is.
Yeah, man. It's actually my producer, man, Edson Sean. He's I'm telling you, he's one of the best MCs lyrically.
Hmm.
Man, he's bad, man, and his voice is amazing. His production is on fire. He's such a talent, man. And in fact, he had this song that he put out, or that he had a couple years ago, and he recorded it. And one of his friends was playing it in a studio, and Redman heard it and was like, "Yo, who's that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's my boy." He's like, "Yo, I need to be on that." And like literally called him at 2 o'clock in the morning. Was like, "Hey, man, I want to be on this track." They got him on the track. They got him in a video, and it was dope, man. It's so dope. But Edson Sean is crazy, man. A lot of people that I work with, man, too, that just need more recognition. I don't know if you've heard of. I know. Have you heard of 80 Empire? They're out of Canada.
Yeah, I actually did an interview with them last week. It
Those
was
are my boys, man.
it was fun.
Those guys are super talented, man. Like,
Yeah.
they got a few songs on the Lottery album. They got a couple that are going to be on this one. So I'm supposed to go up and record with them in June. And man, I love working with them, man. Their energy is just crazy. And Adrian, the
Yeah.
one with the long hair, man,
Yeah.
his voice, man. I always talk about this. I write all my songs
Hmm.
except there's one song on my album, The Lottery, called "When I'm With You."
Hmm.
Uh, I went to Canada to go work with the boys, and we were trying to find some, what kind of what vibe I was looking for. And they were just playing some stuff, and I heard this song they did, and "When I'm With You" is a song,
Hmm.
and man, Adrian's singing it, and it's like nothing lasts forever. And the way he's singing it, it's so strong. And I'm like, there, I was like, man, I love the song. I want to write something like that. They're like, well, why don't we just do this song? I'm like, because I can't sing it like that. And then I said, I can't hit those notes like that. And they're like, no, man, you're gonna bring it, you're gonna do it smooth, and it's gonna be you. We're gonna make it work for you. And I was like, all right. and they coached it out of me, man. And it's one of my favorite recordings, man. It's but I couldn't sing it like that. They made it mine, you know. And that's the only song that I put on my album that I did not write. And I have no qualms saying that they wrote it. They wrote a great song, but I love working with them. So I would say Edson Sean, 80 Empire are like, and of course my boy Nitty, Nitty. You know,
I'm
his
supposed to
vocals
be,
crazy.
and it's funny because I'm supposed to have him on at some point, so trying to set that one up. But it's
Oh, okay.
funny that we're both from Patterson. I
Oh
didn't,
yeah.
yeah,
Wait, where you at now?
man. I live in Maryland now.
Oh, okay, okay. Wow, man, I'm out here in East Rutherford, so I'm not too far, man.
Oh, you were
Yeah,
there.
like Nitty's like we always talk about, like, yo, bro, you're right next door to me, man. So I'm trying to get him on my album
Okay.
for the Midwest Charm. So hopefully we can make that work. We got some things we're talking about doing. So
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely, can't wait to have him on because it was funny that I was when I was talking to 80 Empire, just going through all
yeah,
of the stuff with them, and then even looking over your stuff and a couple of other
yeah,
artists, and it was just like, okay, but yeah, when I heard that he was, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, a guy from Lean on Me. That's what
yeah, yeah, man. That's it.
I
Them
said. I know he could probably get sick of that. I said, but
No, man, I think he loves it, man. The group Riff is back together. They're doing stuff.
okay.
I actually, when I did this show, I did a show here in East Rutherford. The one we were just talking about, actually.
Hmm.
I was trying to, I was like, I called Nitty. I was like, hey, man, you want to get the group up in this show? Let's do it. All back together. And he's like, let me see, because they're in North Carolina. I have to move into North Carolina or whatever. And
Hmm.
he's like, if not, I'll do it. And I'm like, shit, I'll take that too. you know? So it was cool, man. Nitty's a cool guy and just an amazing talent, man. So you tell him I said what's up when you have him on.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, and I have to. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I come up to Jersey very infrequently now,
Right, right.
but when I'm up there,
Yo, hit us up,
I'm
man.
gonna have to look at your schedule so that way I could catch one of your live shows or
Definitely, man.
something.
Definitely. Right now I'm laying low because I'm working on the album. But when
Mm.
stuff starts popping again, would love to have you. If nothing else, man, come up for a barbecue, man. I'll be throwing down on the grill. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So
definitely, definitely. But but before we get out of here, you know, I, so I'm trying to think. Should I play the song first or play the song going out?
you can play it going out. That's cool.
Like going out? Okay.
You can go listen to it at anywhere, Spotify,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
RogerOrtega.com,
They're gonna,
wherever.
cry on me. I want the people to hear just so, like I
That
said,
song, man. I know that song real quick, just to give preface it here. On the surface, the song is about a guy who's singing to a girl about another guy that hurt her. Right.
Mhm.
That's what that song is about on the surface. But what that song is really about is a guy singing to a girl whose dad left her when she was little, and that's what that song is about, like on a deeper level. If you listen to the words, it's like, oh, okay, now I see why she is the way she is and why she's hurting, and I want to be there for her. And that's what this song is. And but I think it just gives a I don't typically like to tell people what songs are about because you can tell for the most part. But this one I really like because then you see it in a different light. You're like, oh, I know you've been hurt. It's like, here we go. That just goes down, man. So
So I'll say this before we get out of here. So let the people know. Are you dropping any more singles? That would be my last question. Are you dropping any more singles?
I will be. Well, the next single will be the lead off to the album. I plan on
Okay.
dropping that in late July at
Okay.
some point. I already have it picked out. I already have it ready to go. But we just have to sit and wait a little bit longer.
Okay. Well, let the people know how they can get in touch with you.
All right, man. RogerOrtega.com has links to all of my social media. I finally got my Twitter back. I got hacked and kicked off of Twitter for 2 months, but I finally got it back
Oh, wow.
literally like 2 weeks ago. So you can follow me there. I follow everybody back. I communicate with everybody. You can join me on Sunday nights when I just do a silly show on Facebook with my friends. It's called Sunday Night Soft Rock with RO. And it's everything from food challenges to would you rather and why and stupid skits and just a good way to end your week or weekend. People lay there and watch a show as they're passing out 10 o'clock every Sunday night on Facebook Live.
Well, I'll say this, again, like I said, it was really, really an honor having you on. And, you know, I really hope that the people really tap in with you, check out your music, and, and give it a try. Let's really support these independent artists. And I'm not just on here talking because he's on here. I love my independent artists. Majors, it's very far and few between
Right.
the major artists that I like. So mostly, like I said, independent all day. You can send me the music. You can, DM me and say, hey, I think you should check this out. I listen to everything. So,
Yeah.
again, Roger Ortega, thank you for coming on. Let me cue this up and get this song ready so that people can hear. And this is Cry on Me. This is We Need to Talk 23.
Oh, yeah. Oh, baby. Cry.
Also one of my favorite videos too.
I know you've been hurt, desperately seeking attention. I know he messed with your life and love. Now you're on your own. No, it ain't easy. Girl, can you feel me? I'm here and I ain't going anywhere. I know you got pain inside you, got lost, so let me find you. I know you wanna give up. I'll pick up the towel you have thrown. No, love ain't easy. Girl, can you see me? I'm standing here, still standing here. And if you need me,